You've already tried talking to him. You've tried reasoning, pleading, even threatening. And still he pours another drink right in front of you, like you're invisible. Caring for someone struggling with alcohol can begin to feel like you yourself are trapped. Here's the part nobody tells you. You're not crazy, you're not failing. You're just battling an enemy you don't fully understand. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe, and I spent 40 years in emergency medicine watching families shatter under the weight of alcoholism. And the hardest part? The partners of those drinkers were heroically fighting to save their families using strategies that couldn't possibly work. Today, I'm going to give you a step-by-step framework that cuts through the chaos and gives you back control, even when he refuses to change. Because here's the truth. You can't escape a trap you don't comprehend. And right now, it's very likely that alcohol has built a trap so sophisticated that even he can't see the bars. Let me guess what your life looks like right now. You're walking on eggshells, never knowing which version of him you'll get. You're covering for him at family events, making excuses to his work, protecting the kids from seeing too much. And late at night, when the house is finally quiet, you lie there thinking, if he really loved us, wouldn't he just stop? That thought is eating you alive. Because you know he loves you, you've seen it. But somehow that love isn't enough to make him put down the bottle. Here's what you need to understand. This isn't about love. It never was. Alcoholism is a disease, not a metaphorical disease, a literal, progressive, neurologic disease that rewires how his brain processes reward, risk, and reality itself. When you understand that, really understand it, everything changes. You stop taking it personally. You stop wasting energy on strategies that can't work. And you start using the framework that can actually create change. Why does he keep drinking when the consequences are so obvious? Because he's not drinking for the alcohol, he's drinking for the feeling, that momentary escape, or the notion that the good times are enhanced with the drink. That brief sense that everything's under control, that chemical illusion of being okay. And here's the insidious part. Over time, his brain has been hijacked. Drinking creates its own momentum. Neural pathways get carved deeper. Memories get misfiled. The brain starts crediting alcohol for happiness it had nothing to do with. That birthday party where everyone laughed, his brain files it under alcohol made that good. That vacation where he finally relaxed, alcohol gets the credit. This is why logic doesn't work. You've been arguing with a brain that's been reprogrammed. And you're also dealing with someone whose biochemistry is fundamentally different, maybe in ways that prevent him from being able to control alcohol once it enters his system. And for that, he's not at fault, and neither are you. But it's a reality that you must accept. Until you understand the brain's programming, nothing changes. So, let's understand it. This isn't therapy speak, it's a systematic approach. Think of it as an algorithm. Each step leads to the next, each answer determines your path forward. The first step is to establish your starting coordinates. Before you can move forward, you need to know where you're actually standing. That means asking 2 diagnostic questions. Question 1. Does he acknowledge his drinking is a problem? Yes or no? Not kind of, not sometimes. Does he genuinely see what you see? If the answer is no, if you're the only one ringing the alarm, then confrontation will backfire. He'll dig in. He'll resent you. He may even drink more just to prove you don't control him. Is this irrational? Absolutely. But it's predictable. Still, you have every right to plant a flag, once, clearly, and calmly. I'm concerned your drinking has crossed a line and I need you to know that. You're not begging, You're not nagging. You're stating a fact. And that statement becomes the foundation for question 2. And question 2 is, are you aware that your drinking is hurting me and our family? This is your leverage point. You're not calling him weak. You're not judging his character. You're sharing impact. When you disappeared at that birthday party, I felt humiliated. When you missed our son's game, he cried in the car. When you promise you stop and then you don't, I feel like I'm going insane. This isn't about right or wrong, it's about connection. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, this creates the first hairline crack in his denial. The second step is to expand that crack. The wall of denial isn't stubbornness, it's a survival mechanism. His brain has built that wall to protect him from shame, from failure, from the terrifying reality that he's losing control. You can't sledgehammer your way through that wall, but you can expand the cracks. How? With evidence, not accusations. Telling him you're always drunk is an accusation. But if you point out, last Tuesday you passed out before dinner. Last Thursday I found the empty bottle hidden in the garage. Last Saturday you couldn't remember the conversation we had that morning. Then these are facts, dates, specific moments. You don't pile them on like an attack. You offer them like breadcrumbs, gentle, undeniable, leading him toward the truth. Because here's what can happen. When the evidence stacks up, calmly and consistently, his own brain starts connecting the dots. The wall begins to fracture from the inside. And this leads to the third step, another critical question. Imagine that breakthrough moment. He admits it. You're right. I have a problem. It's hurting you and I don't want to live like this anymore. This is the moment many families squander because the instinct is to feel relief and say, okay, just try harder. No. This is the moment for question 3. Can I help? If he says no, respect it. Tell him you'll be there when he's ready and mean it. But if he says yes, if he's finally opening the door, you need to be ready. Not with vague support, with an actual plan. Because I'll do better is not a plan. I'll cut back is not a plan. You need structure, and that leads to a very important fork in the road. To control or to quit. Here's where families get stuck, because his instinct will be, I don't need to quit, I just need to control it. And your instinct will be to argue, to say, no, you need to stop completely. Don't argue. Test. This is the moment you submit the question to a higher authority, the court of evidence. I recommend saying this. Okay, let's try control, but we need to define what control actually means, and we need to test it fairly. Then create a controlled trial. No drinking for the week, at all. And no more than 2 drinks on the weekend, period. We'll do this for 30 days with no exceptions. We'll write it out and we'll sign it. You're not arguing, you're experimenting. And experiments produce data. If he succeeds for 30 days, truly succeeds, maybe control is possible, for now. But if he fails, the evidence speaks louder than any fight you could have ever had. The conclusion becomes inescapable. Control is not an option. Quitting is the only path forward. When abstinence becomes the only answer, the real work begins. This is not a New Year's resolution. This is not a weekend detox. This is a long-term reconstruction of how he lives, thinks, and processes stress. The first year of sobriety is challenging. Everything feels raw. Every trigger is a landmine. But here's the good news. The path is well-worn. Millions have walked it successfully. It helps to be aware of support systems before you need them. Paid options include inpatient or outpatient treatment programs, or a sobriety coach if you can afford it. Other alternatives are essentially free. Alcoholics Anonymous has no dues or fees for membership and has helped millions of people, but is not for everyone. A family member or someone outside the family in recovery who provides accountability, strategies, and hope can be a very valuable resource as a guide who's been there. What matters is community, people who understand, people who won't let him lie to himself. In addition, medical oversight by a physician who can manage withdrawal safely, treat underlying depression or anxiety, and monitor physical health should be arranged, especially if heavy drinking is involved. Such support isn't optional. It's the scaffolding that holds the early months together when everything wants to collapse. And finally, don't neglect yourself. In families being torn apart by alcohol, other family members often will benefit from therapy as well. So let's pull this all together. Here's your algorithm. Reframe the problem. This is a disease, not a character flaw. Establish coordinates. Does he see the problem? Does he see the harm? Crack the wall. Use evidence, not emotion. Facts, not blame. Ask the pivotal question, can I help? And be ready with a real plan. Test control scientifically. Create a trial. Let evidence decide. Commit to the journey. If quitting is the answer, build the support system before the crisis hits. You didn't cause this, and you can't cure it. But you don't have to stay trapped in the chaos. This framework gives you back something precious, agency. The ability to think clearly, to act strategically. To stop spinning in circles and start moving forward, whether he's ready to change or not. Because here's the final truth. Your life doesn't have to wait for his recovery. You can use this roadmap to create boundaries, clarity, and sanity, even if he never picks up the map himself. And if he does, if he finally decides to walk this road with you, then you'll both be ready. Here at Second Act Recovery, I have created this platform to help you better understand alcohol and the complicated relationship we have with it. For those who are committed to taking action and freeing themselves from alcohol, I've created a 90-day sobriety survival kit that will help you change the way you understand your relationship with alcohol, as well as provide specific actions to help reach the important 90-day milestone. I have a link to more information about this in the description below. Please check it out. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, and comment below. And also, why not check out this video which explains alcohol's allure. I'm Dr. Donald Crowe, and I'll see you in the next one.